All right. I think sometimes it's a bit daunting just starting the class. I think it's sometimes just so good to get moving. So we're going to roll down and roll up, and then we're rolling down to a plank. So straight away, find the placing of your feet under your hips, chin to chest, nice heavy arms. Unlike the normal Pilates roll down, we're going to have a little sway, zigzag sway, all the way down. We're taking our time so we can check in, feel what we can feel in the back of the body. Starting to engage your core, you can start to get a little bit more work into the back, and then hanging like a rag doll. We'll just be here just for a few moments. Nice deep breaths, just feel the blood rush into the head. And then let's soften the knees a little bit in the knees, and then roll up through the spine. See if you can puff up the spine one tiny bit at a time. So breathing into the back of the body, finding space in between each vertebra. And we're slowly coming all the way up at the top, rolling the shoulders back and down. Don't worry, you've lost the top of my head. I'm coming back. And then we're going to roll down. This time we'll stay all the way down. So chin to chest. You can either roll straight down or take a bigger swing, just so that we're influencing, stretching a little bit more of the back of the body. Feeling your way down. The knees can be soft. Little sway, shimmy of the hips. So that means bending one knee while the other leg is straight, and then taking it to the other side, and just letting the upper body flow. We're ready to pace it forwards to a plank. So let the hands find the floor, pace the hands forwards, adjust the feet if you need to. Not so much strengthening, more about checking things out. So again, bend into the knees. See how it feels dropping the heels to one side and giving a stretch down the side of the body. If you're not wearing socks, look at the toes and see if you can spread the toes wide and get a little bit of space in between them. We can take the knees down now and just take like a restless all fours position. So you're rolling the shoulders back, head can hang or start to circle ahead. So very unstructured, just feeling our way into things, checking things out. It's like dancing when no one's looking, isn't it? I'm the only one who looks silly, so you're fine. All right. We're going to start to move with the spine now. Let's step your right foot forwards. And we're thinking about spine extension. So initially, let's hold the back of the body, roll the shoulders back and out, and sink the hips forwards, open across the chest. Nothing too forced. Nice deep breath and feel that kind of arch in the spine. Maybe where we're rounding a little bit in the mid to upper back, we can counter that. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. We're lengthening down the front of the thigh here. And then next flexion of the spine. We'll keep the front foot on the floor. So the leg probably won't straighten, but let's round the back and come to hang on the inside of the knee. Let the head drop, rounding the back of the body. Then rotation of the spine. The opposite hand to the foot that's on the floor. Place it on the floor, and we're taking just an easy twist and opening the chest as far up to the ceiling as you can. Now pause here. The shoulder of this front hand. See, is it rolling in towards the front knee? See what it feels like to roll it out. Externally rotate away from the front knee. And then see if you can find some compromise somewhere in the middle, where there's mindfulness and a nice position in that front shoulder. The top shoulder reaching up to the ceiling. Maybe you're starting to turn your chest up to the ceiling, but just keep an eye on that front shoulder, the lower shoulder. And then let's go again. We're going to try and do this twice more. So extension of the spine. If you felt secure here, maybe we take the arms overhead for a full crescent. So think about reaching, lengthening from the outer little finger down the arm, over the hip, right down to the knee, even to the toes. Breathing deeply, but no overdoing it. Too much to the lower spine. Back off a little bit. Breathing nicely, deeply into the lungs, and then press into that front foot, coming into a fold. So fingers can come to the earth, drop the head, maybe the front toes lift, No need to straighten the leg. It's probably quite intense in the back of the leg. More relaxing, releasing in the back of the body. So the more you take the chin into the chest, the more the navel lifts up to the spine, the more we're rounding the back for a release. So that's extension, flexion now for that rotation of the spine. Same, turning to the side. Then checking in with that front shoulder, not rolling in, not rolling out, just somewhere mindfully in between. And you'll find that the more you open your chest to the ceiling, the more that shoulder will want to round towards your knees. So just keeping an eye on a nice, stacked, healthy position for the shoulder as we rotate the spine. So the top fingers might go beyond the ceiling to all the way behind you, depending on how much rotation you get in the spine. All right, last time. So extension of the spine, pressing to the front foot. We're looking about finding length in the whole body. So sinking the hips a little bit forwards, feeling the ribs lifting out of the hips. Maybe spread the fingertips, stretch the palm. Big stretch overhead, expansive chest opener, heart opener, and then into the fold. So we press into the front foot. Maybe the front toes lift. So it's a very much a modified half splits Ardha Hanumanasana. It's more about just melting into a fold, maybe shaking the head side to side, ready for our last twist on this side. So place the hand or fist, if that's more comfortable, on the floor. Front foot comes back flat to the floor, and we'll lift and twist. We're turning the chest up to the ceiling. That front hip crease pulled back, so the hips are secure, thigh bones tucked into the hip joints. We're rotating through the spine, being mindful of our shoulders, feeling length from one arm into the other. Ooh, and lower it down. We'll switch to the other side. But let's just take a little shimmy of the hip side to side before we do that. And then we'll step your other foot forward. So into that knee lunge position. If you're starting to feel a bit of stress under that knee, do double up your mat or put a cushion under the knee. So let's check out how the hips feel on this side. We'll start by supporting the spine. Fingers pointing down, shoulders back and down, and just teasing, feeling your way into those hips gliding forwards, chest opening. Just checking out how the hip flexors, top of this back leg feel. If you feel secure here, right from the first of our sets of 3, we can take the arms overhead. Let's get the shoulders down away from the ears. Nice deep breath. Start to think about wakening up the whole body. And then into that fold. Press into the front foot. Glide your chest forward. Maybe the hands come to the inside of the leg. Hips start to adjust back. Nice deep breaths. Heavy and relaxed down the whole spine. So your head dangling. Give into the weight of the head. Ready for the twist. So remember, it's the opposite hand to the front foot on the floor. Turn the chest, maybe you keep your hand on the front knee and turn to look up at the ceiling. From here, let's check in with the shoulder on this side. Rounding forwards will be unhelpful. And even excessively externally rotating is not so good, somewhere in between. And we're looking for a big lift, length from one arm into the other. And as you breathe deeply, we're finding space, starting to rotate, feel the rotation along the whole length of the spine. If it's okay for your neck, looking back, and let's go again. So, spine extension, either supporting the lower back or arms overhead. Starting to really lengthen, feeling a little bit longer. Expansive breath into the ribs, the belly, and into your fold. Press back, so maybe the hands come to the inside. Don't worry about fully extending the front leg. More thinking about the spine, releasing the back of the body. So any sway of the head, any extra movements you want to add in, all valid and welcome. Into our twist, foot comes flat to the floor again. And remember, you can come onto the fist if this is starting to get a little bit much. Let's turn the chest, reach if you're lifting, otherwise leave a hand on the thigh. And start to feel that spiraling as your chest rolls up to the ceiling. And just being aware, as long as we're aware that there's no discomfort in that lower shoulder, it's probably fine. Just we want to avoid excessive rounding in, because that feels like we're collapsing into the shoulder. And again, last round, let's come into the spine extension. Options to take a full crescent shape with the arms overhead, or maybe hands on the knee, or supporting the lower back if that's an area that you feel a little bit vulnerable in. Chest open wide, nice deep breath. And then taking the counter, roll it down. It's almost like a modified humble warrior, isn't it? Dropping the head on the inside of the knee, crown of the head to the floor, rounding and releasing the back. Wonderful. Our last twist, hand or fist to the floor, turn the chest, and then keep turning to open. So the external rotation of that lower shoulder just gives us more of an opening across the chest. Deep breath. See if we can place some pressure through the fingertips and the knuckles, so we're not just dumping on the wrists. So just coming a little bit lighter onto the heel of the hand. Breathing deeply. This is our last one here, and then we come down. Let's take the knees back in line. Let's just take a cat-cow just to feel symmetry through the body again. Feeling the rounding and the opening of the body. Last time. And then we're taking a gate. So coming to a kneeling position, let's extend the leg out to the side. Now thinking about really opening up the sides of the body. Let's open the arms, hand glides down the outer seam of the leg, and this big stretch, reach, opening between the ribs and the hips, down the outer hip, stretching overhead into the fingertips, lengthen. And then to the other side, maybe the fingertips come to the floor, maybe the hand, and we're stretched all the way overhead. But once more each side, just pause. There's always a little bit of magic if we're patient enough to pause at the end of the stretch, just a little bit of extra give. Last time each side. So big opening, shoulders down away from the ears. Getting a little bit of an inner thigh stretch maybe here, but the emphasis on the outer knee, this outer seam, finding length right up into the fingertips overhead. Extra little bit of give. And then take it to the other side. So don't worry if you didn't get an inner thigh stretch on that side. We will with the next, which is like a modified extended side angle. So we're on the same leg, we come up. We're going to turn the toes to the side wall and bend the knees. So knee and toes now pointing to the side wall. Let's go again. That side movement this time, hand to the big toe side, the arch of the foot side, reaching over, you're leaning back. So now I expect you're getting that inner thigh stretch. Big breath here, and then we'll come up to warrior two, arms, shoulders back and down, twice more. Finding the floor, reaching overhead. Still that sense of opening the chest up to the ceiling as we did in that kind of modified easy twist at the beginning. And then peeling the hand up, shoulders back and down, nice and easy in the neck. Last time. Big stretch overhead. Keep trying to turn your chest to the ceiling. A little bit of a lean back into that thigh to deepen the inner thigh stretch. And then occupy space. Fan the arms all the way down. Roll the shoulders, we'll take it to the other side. If you are feeling in the knees, do roll up the mat or give yourself a little bit of padding. So initially your toes are pointing forwards. And we just take a classic gate, side bend. Reaching overhead, but shoulders down. You can let the head drip to one side, a little bit of a neck release on this side. So again, a little bit of a pause just to feel a little bit of extra give, a little bit of stretch, a little bit deeper. Nice deep breath into the count on the opposite side. Bring the hands down, maybe the hands find the floor. Maybe you can look up at the ceiling on the inside of your armpit, really stretch into the fingertips. Wonderful. Peel the hand off. Deep breath in here, breathing out into your side bend. Wonderful. Deep breath in, shoulders down. I'll be feeling a little bit longer already. All right, let's take a bend into this knee, toe and knee pointing to the sides, hand to the floor, and reach over. So finding that inner thigh stretch. So we'll take 3 full rounds of this so that we get a balance opening of the hip, pressing up, warrior 2, arms, shoulders back and down, and let's go again. Last 2. Shoulder down, my palms facing down, so the arms over the ear. I'm trying to pull that shoulder back to the wall behind. Ready for the last one. Relax the shoulders and let's go again, last time. From here, we'll take a puppy pose into a thread through. So all this work, you're feeling it in the shoulders. We'll get a nice release after the last. Warrior 2, arms, lift and float the arms down. Shrug out the shoulders, puppy pose into a thread through pose. So we can have the bottom kind of up in the air, pace the hands forwards, drop the forehead to the floor. If you're a little bit tightly hip, the elbows could come to the floor. If you feel there's a little bit of extra scope, you can lift the elbows and lift the heels of the hands so that the head and chest can drop down through the arms. Have a little wiggle here of the hips. Maybe the fingertips creep a little bit further forwards. But when you're ready, the big toes can come together and then don't worry about the position of the feet. We'll thread one arm through, palm facing upwards, cheek goes to the floor. Now we can either prop ourselves up here to get a stretch in this, across the top of this lower shoulder, or the arm can come overhead, but this is another spinal twist. So if we start to turn and look up at the ceiling, maybe on the inside of the armpit, we may want to adjust the position of the hand. That can help us develop that twist. But let's think about the priorities. Main thing is to feel some softness and length over the top of this target shoulder. If you feel scope that you can add on a deeper spinal twist, then we'll start to spiral the upper spine, the chest up to the ceiling. But you can let the head dangle, so softness in the neck, and breathing some space in between each vertebra, and above all, finding a little bit of space in the shoulder joint. Nice relaxed breath. So really the only muscular effort going on for me is with this top hand, because that's helping to deepen the twist. I personally have a little bit of tightness in the mid-spine, so I always have to spend a little bit more time working on getting a little bit of movement into the thoracic spine. One more breath here. We won't go directly to the other side, just go into a child pose, release your arm, sit back on the heels and just take a moment. Symmetry is always good just for the brain to settle, process new information, and then we'll take it across to the other side. So you're threading your other arm through with the palm facing upwards. Start with your cheek or the temple on the floor. And by kind of leaning backwards, you'll feel we're starting to create a little bit of space in that shoulder. And if you're getting that, you're winning, that's where we want to be. So optional extra, maybe the hand walks overhead and we start to turn the chest to the ceiling. But above all, just look after the shoulder that's on the floor and be comfortable. It's, you know, if you're like me and you have a little bit of tightness in the mid to upper back, then it actually feels nice to try and work into a spinal twist. So you make it your own. I just be kind, don't overdo it. We're here just for another few moments. Maybe you get a little bit more of a twist. Maybe as you realize it's time to back off a little bit. Breathe. A brief child pose. Slowly edge your way out. We can stack the hands to the forehead. You might want to shimmy the shoulders, shake things out. And then we're coming onto our backs. Core time. So part of our health of our spine will obviously come from a strong core. So we're going to start with leg raises. So you tilt your pelvis, navel to spine, spine to mat. And we'll take it in turns to lift one leg. Maybe it's straight, maybe it's bent. Keeping the core engaged, and then the other leg. So alternate legs. Now here are the options. If this is pretty easy, we might go for 2 straight legs, and we'll take it in turns, lifting one leg and the other. You'll notice I've got my fingers pressed into my belly so I can be sure I've got that engagement throughout. By tucking the bottom under, I'm reducing the gap between the lower spine and the mat, and we want to maintain that. Chin's tucked into the chest. Shoulders down away from the ears. This is all going fine. Let's have a go. Pointing as the leg lifts, and then flexing the foot as you lower down. Pointing up, flexing down. So we're strengthening the leg muscles, but also loading onto those core muscles. This is just a warm-up. Enjoy. Wonderful. 2 more sets. Chin tucked, shoulders relaxing down. Let's try and see if we can get the shoulder blades nicely settled into the floor. Nice and flat. So the next exercise we'll do is we'll have both legs lifted as much as you need to feel the spine flat to the floor. We're going to flutter the legs. If that means a bend in the knees, that's fine. Maybe the legs are straight and we're fluttering here. More of a challenge, we flutter a little bit lower down. But be fussy about keeping a long spine. Shoulders back and down. Core engaged, your lower ribs pull together. Bottom tucked. Imagine there's a grate between your lower spine and the floor. You need to crush it and keep it crushed. Naturally, the shoulders will want to lift. See if we can work them down. Remember, we can take the knees in and bend them for less intensity. More intensity, bigger movement, and lower the legs. Let's keep going. Flutter for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Briefly hug the knees into the chest. I'll explain the next. Crisscross. This is nice for working the inner and outer thighs. So again, find a position. Knees may be bent. We'll crisscross here. Or we'll crisscross with the legs straighter and lower. So find your position. Navel to spine. Zip in like you're wearing tight jeans. And let's go. One ankle over the other. And listen to yourself. If this is just too much, bring the legs closer into the chest. You feel you can go, push yourself a little bit further, lower the legs. All right, so chin's tucked as far as possible, shoulders back and down. We're zipping up, front ribs close together, and let's crisscross one over the other. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, go for it, 2, 1, hug the knees into the chest, amazing. Last call, let's use the obliques. We'll take nice simple cycling, hold the head in the hands, curl up head, neck and shoulders, so we've got a nice imprint in the lower spine. We'll start with both knees into the chest. So extend one leg, and we're going to really lift the upper body to the outer thigh and pause. Pause until you've breathed out every little bit of air in the lungs. We'll breathe in to switch you on the other side, and now start to exhale fully, reaching. See if you can lift more of your upper back off the floor. Okay, we know what we're doing. Find your oblique twist, hold and squeeze. There's 10. Switch to the other side, reach, lift the upper body. There's 9, empty the lungs. Switch. We're on number 8. Squeeze in. If it's too much, we leave the head on the floor and we hug the knee in, and maybe we just reduce the range of movement. Make it your own. 6, let's go for it. Your version. As long as you're feeling it in the core, this is all magical, and you know you're nearly there. Let's go for 5, nice halfway point, empty the lungs. Ready for 4. Zipping in like you're nearly successful in getting some tight jeans with zipping up, zipping up, zipping up. Ready for 2. And then 1. We're going to take a full body stretch after this, and then we can really lengthen out those core muscles that we've been contracting in. So arms overhead, straighten the legs. Deep breath in so you can feel that stretch over the front of the body. Do so well. Spread the toes. Let's circle the ankles clockwise twice, anti-clockwise twice. And then hug the knees into the chest. We have one little movement on our bellies. So still spine health. We'll take a Cobra. So let's keep the hands quite close to the body, elbows into the body. Small Cobra, zip the legs together, point the toes, looking down at the floor. Shoulders down. Now press into the floor, and we're feeling just the upper back, shoulders, and then we're lowering down. We're with the breath. So there's 1, 5 more. Breathe into prepare, engage your core, squeeze your glutes, point the toes, press the hands energetically into the floor and rise up. We want to find some movement in the whole spine. So try to avoid overdoing in the lower back. As we lift, we can more think about trying to find length in the spine. If you've been doing any other exercise this week, you might find that quite readily this hits your triceps. I can feel it there. Nearly there. Really find length. Almost as if every time you lower the body, you're lowering your nose a little bit further along your mat. Length, lengthen and lower. Take it back to a child pose, and then we're finishing with some neck releases. So your hands can be by your ankles or in the extended child pose. A little bit of a shimmy over the hips. And then roll up through the spine. Let's meet sitting up. Now for the neck. Just roll shoulders back and down. Cross the hands behind the back. Open across the chest. And we're going to take a gentle movement forwards and backwards with the head. But we're going to allow the chest, the shoulders to move along with it. So just notice, if I isolate the neck, this is quite a raw movement for the neck. Whereas if I start to soften the shoulders, it's more of a spilling forwards and backwards. So allow the very top of the back, so not just the cervical spine, a little bit of the upper spine and the shoulders to round forwards and backwards. If you're comfortable here, close the eyes. Slower the better. And if you're, you can even cross the hands on the lap here. But slow right down, have your eyes closed. This is actually really soothing. So allow the jaw to be really soft. And relax the body to move it kind of in an integrated way. You know, it's good to isolate with, say, Pilates exercises to exercise the joints. But for nice, comfortable, functional movement, we want the whole body acting together. So this way we're allowing the shoulders to follow the movement. And we get, it's almost like we're re-establishing a nice line of movement for the head and neck. Taking the same principle, we'll take a side-to-side movement. So arms out wide, fingers come to the floor, and drop the head to one side. The hand will fully come to the floor, and then we'll slowly take it to the other side. So if you're against a wall, we'll keep the head lifted. So if the back of the head would find the wall along with your lower spine. And just a really gentle, lazy tick-tock side to side. So you'll hopefully let your shoulders really drop. Sway of the head, soft jaw. So the ear comes down to the shoulder. It's the same principle as the flexion and extension that we took for the neck. This lateral flexion, taking the stretch from the side of the neck into the shoulder, almost like the spine becomes like a bamboo reed, just flowing in the wind. And then last of all is a rotation, so we can allow the upper body to flow with it. So instead of isolating the neck, allow the chest to open as the head drops back. Allow the shoulders to come out of alignment as the head goes to the side, rounding forward with the head. So supporting the neck, almost like we'll have put the neck through so much stress and in an unbalanced way without using the rest of the body. This is just, see this as a nice reset. One more circle in this direction and then we'll take it the other way. Last 2 circles, and then hopefully you're not too chilled out to carry on with the rest of your day. And when you're finished, just give yourself a moment with the hands on the laps, eyes closed, and just try to notice how soft and lovely your neck and shoulders feel. Very well done.